The sad truth, guys, is that most sales training is broken. People spend years studying through trial and error, learning from their mistakes, instead of drilling proven fundamentals. And the reason sales training is broken is because most of it only deals at the conceptual level, and it doesn't drill the fundamentals. After coaching 500 plus salespeople and shortening ramp time from 8 weeks to 2 weeks across multiple organizations, I've discovered that sales mastery isn't about natural talent or years of experience. It's about systematic drilling of tactical skills until they become second nature. You don't need to spend 10 years learning sales like I did. You can go on this following 6-week journey to get mastery in sales to a high level of proficiency, i.e. hitting quota, i.e. blowing the doors off expectations at your new sales job within 6 weeks. And this video is going to train you how. My name is Drew Long, and I've helped companies grow from $1 million in profit to over $81 million in profit annually through the rigorous application of systematic sales skills. So let's dive into it. Why study this? Okay, the reason we study this is because it's the difference between years and weeks. You have two paths in front of you, young Padawan. You could either go path one, which is trial and error. That takes years, and it'll also allow you to develop bad habits that you'll have to unlearn later. Path two is what I'm going to teach you today, systematic drilling. And I'm willing to bet you haven't seen this technique taught anywhere else. You're going to follow the systematic drilling approach and achieve mastery in just 6 weeks. The difference here isn't talent or natural ability, it's methodology. Sales mastery really comes from drilling the fundamentals until they become second nature and then developing the calibration skills to adapt in real time. And most people want to skip this stuff. Most people want to skip this drilling phase because it feels mechanical. But the mechanical phase is what creates the foundation for everything to look effortless later. And the question here isn't whether or not you have natural sales talent. No, the question is whether you have the discipline to drill the fundamentals until mastery becomes inevitable. That is what you have to have if you want to compress years of learning into weeks of systematic approach. That is what this video is going to give you the roadmap to doing. Like any other discipline, there's no shortcuts on the road to mastery. There's only more efficient paths. And what we're going to do today is talk about path two, systematic drilling. Here's your foundation. Why does drilling beat natural selling? The elites understand that what makes sales feel automatic and natural is, in fact, not winging it. It's from having drilled the fundamentals and the basics so many times that they can't get them wrong. Think about LeBron or think about Tom Brady, right? They're still drilling free throws and 3-step drops, right? They're not trying to learn new skills all the time. They're maintaining the precision of the skills they've already mastered. And the precision of the basics is what makes a great salesperson. Sales is exactly the same. The best salespeople I've ever coached follow a framework religiously until the framework dissolves into the background. It becomes automatic for them. They drill this underlying structure so hard that they can then come off the page and sound totally natural while still hitting every critical element of their sales process. The script should be memorized, but not just from a pure rote memorization standpoint. It should be memorized and ingrained so you can deliver it with natural tonality. Here's the counterintuitive truth, guys. You need to master your sales frameworks and memorize it before you're ever going to sound natural. I know people want to skip steps. I know you want to jump ahead and then be conversational and authentic right away. But authenticity without structure is just improvisation. And improvisation doesn't scale. It doesn't allow you to hit repeatable metrics. So this roadmap is built on systematic drilling. There are 5 core competencies you need to drill. When you master these, it's going to create sales performance that looks effortless, but it's actually the result of preparation. So here's the roadmap. Weeks 1 through 2, you're going to master your complete sales call structure. First 2 weeks, you're going to be drilling the complete call flow until you can execute it flawlessly without thinking. Here is your basic framework. Now, your framework of your particular sales job might look a little bit different, but let's say you're using a pretty basic framework. Agenda, setting the tone of the call, frame setting, discovery, implication questions, discovery summary, permission to pitch, transfer or transition to soft close, transfer or transition to price, select the right package, sign, pay, and begin. This is a framework that has served me really well across many different industries and closed 80 million plus annually in B2C sales. The critical element that most people miss, I'm going to pause here because this will help both B2C and B2B sellers. Discovery, summary, and recommendation. So after the discovery, you're going to summarize their current state, what they've attempted, the consequences of not acting, and their desired state into one clear paragraph. The confirmation you're going to use is, does that sound about right Or have I missed anything at all that is important? When they say, no, Drew, you've got it exactly right. That's exactly the situation we're in. You're then going to go into a recommendations phase where you're going to say, or is it all right with you if I share my insights based on my X years of experience and social proof? Here's where you're inserting why they should listen to you, your 10 years of experience, your expertise, the awards you won, blah, 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 whatever it is. You're inserting that so they have a reason to listen to your recommendations. That is what I call permission to pitch. And that is going to help you with the problem of your sales calls becoming free consulting calls, which is something I see very often with folks that are experts in their field. They're getting on sales calls. Maybe you're the owner, you're the founder of the company, or you have a lot of expertise in the field you're selling in, but you tend to just give away the farm and kind of tell everyone everything they need to do without actually selling them. Remember, telling's not selling. So here's the drilling method that you're going to use. Week 1, you're going to practice each section separately until smooth. So you would practice, for instance, your frame setting really a lot. I mean, like 10, 20, 30, 40 times, all right? Then you're going to practice the series of discovery questions that you're going to ask. You're going to practice your implication or your cost of an action questions, again, 10 to 40 times. You're going to practice the discovery summary 10 to 40 times. Same with permission to pitch. Same with all your transitional phrases. That's going to be week 1, all right? Just practice everything a ton. Week 2, you're going to run through a complete call and you're going to time each section. So how long does it take for me to set the frame? How long does it take for me to do the discovery? How long does it take for me to do the implication questions, right? And of course, this isn't going to be as precise as it is with a real prospect because you're not allowing for the prospect to answer, but you want your own timings to be consistent, meaning it should always take you about 7 seconds to set the frame. For example, measure. Can you execute the full framework without notes? Can you reel your way through the entire script, meaning the question-based script, asking all the questions you need to ask to get through all the different sections of the script without notes? Again, you'll know you'll be doing it right when each section takes about the same amount of time to run through. That means you're consistently saying about the same amount of words at roughly the same speed. Essential. Do not forget your implication or your cost of an action questions. Be prepared to drill down into the why and the what happens questions. Don't accept surface level pain. Build urgency by getting into consequences. Instead of just saying, oh, so you need more leads, drill it down to, okay, what happens to your business in 3 to 6 months, do you think, if the lead generation doesn't improve? Focus on the implication and the cost of an action for every problem or obstacle they face. Envision it like when someone is giving you problems in their business or in their personal life, whatever part of their life you're selling, they're giving you a series of small boxes. You could choose to open up any one of those boxes, but they might place 5 or 7 or 12 small boxes on the table, and you have to decide which box to open. Some cases you want to open all the boxes and explore all of them for consequences and cost of an action. Sometimes, as you learn in sales, you can discard 9 out of the 10 boxes and just open the one box. But regardless, you have to build that meta level awareness of what is this prospect handing me, so you can know what to drill into. It's kind of a topic for another video, but I just wanted to reference it here. Okay, that's week 1 and week 2. Week 3, we are going to have to get comfortable talking about money. And we're going to have to talk about money in 2 ways, resources and willingness. So I'll show you what I mean here. Most people are uncomfortable talking about money early, earnestly, and directly. So the core skill here is strategic directness. Our services are typically in the range of $5,000 to $10,000 per month. Is that within the budget for you? It should roll off the tongue with just that level of neutrality, almost boredom. It doesn't need to be exciting emotionally for you to say 50,000 or 50 million or 500 million. It should all sound the exact same. 5,000, 500, 500 should all sound the same. Budget qualification isn't negotiation, it's screening. You do want to get this out of the way early in most sales processes so that you're scaring away people who simply don't have the money or can't afford you, or they're not willing to spend and invest in themselves. Now, you also need to drill follow-up sequences. When they say, oh yeah, if the ROI is good, we'll invest more. You don't just accept that deflection. You want to say, oh, okay, what's a typical ROI that you'd look for? And if they say, oh, just something good, you'd say, well, what is something good to you? Is it 5x? Is it 10x? Is it 50x? What are you looking for? This helps set realistic expectations and frame the conversations around value, not just cost. Don't let people get away with deflections when it comes to money, because people's favorite thing to do when it comes to money is deflect, because they are also uncomfortable speaking about money. Now, in your sales funnel, if you're giving advice to your sales manager or the rest of your sales team, you might want to have a budget screening question somewhere in your funnel that qualifies them as well. That's kind of just a more advanced technique as a sidebar. Now, the drilling method here, practice budget conversations with colleagues. Hopefully you have a role play partner or someone you're doing this with, someone else who's on the sales team. If you don't, check out my school community. We'll get you hooked up with a role play partner as part of that school community group. Role play different deflection responses. So when they try to squirrel away from giving you any hard data on money, you are able to pin them down and get the hard data out of them. Measure. Can you ask budgeted questions without hesitation or apology? Go back, listen to the call recordings. You are recording these role play sessions, correct? Or you're recording yourself, even with just a voice recorder on your phone, you should be recording yourself practicing the script, and then it needs to sound routine and reasonable. There has to be no speeding up of your voice, no wavering of tonality, no uptones at the end of sentences. Should sound like your coffee order at Starbucks or wherever you go to get coffee. And then again, you need to address the two parts of the key money talk, which is their physical access to resources. Do they have the cash available? And then two, their willingness to spend it. Practice asking questions like, okay, and how would you justify to yourself or to your company spending $10,000 on that outcome? And then letting them talk. You need to ensure they have both the money or the budget and the willingness to invest in the desired solution before you ever pitch them the price. The goal here isn't to become comfortable with rejection, guys. The goal here is to become comfortable speaking about money and finances. Okay, now we're in week 4, selling to non-decision makers. This is where I'm going to teach you my one-page business case strategy. This works a treat. And yes, there is a free resource down below in the first link under this video. You can go ahead and grab that. This is one of the most common scenarios you're going to face in B2B sales, which is dealing with information gatherers who don't have buying authority. Here's the mindset shift. Don't fight it, work with it. When someone just says, oh, my boss just sent me to gather some pricing information, most salespeople are going to try to force them into buying or demand to speak with the decision maker. You don't want to create an adversarial dynamic here. You want to get them on your side of the table, and you want to start creating a solution together. So you got to make them your internal champion. Help them succeed at their job of getting options to present to their boss. Oh, it sounds like you might need to present several options to your team. Now, what data do you really need to gather to make a great presentation that's going to help everyone make the best decision for the company, and then become their partner in gathering and creating that presentation? The business case co-creation methodology. Create a shared Google Doc that outlines the company problem in their own words, the potential solutions, multiple options, your specific methodology or approach, and your strengths or weaknesses versus other options. Important note, hopefully pointing out your own unique weaknesses here, i.e. admitting you're less than perfect, will massively increase your chances of being selected, since it conveys trust and credibility. Who except an extremely confident person or company is going to admit they have weaknesses? Only truly confident companies are aware of and communicative about their own flaws. Again, you're not just pitching here, you're helping them present a case they're going to present internally. Now, advanced version of this technique, not just a Google Doc, the competitive evaluation matrix. When someone, let's say you're an agency and you're selling to a bigger company and they're going to select from amongst a variety of agencies, you might ask, oh, what categories are you going to rank all these agencies on? Pull up the spreadsheet, again, free resource down in the downloads, and you can actually real-time modify this spreadsheet and show it to them to help them with the vendor decision-making. You can best believe they've probably had to create this on their own. So if you just literally give it to them, you're probably going to become their top choice overnight. Then you can help them design the criteria in your favor. Now, you might also have to do something we call coaching the sale, which is preparing your information gatherer to present your information to the decision makers. How are you going to do this? You're going to ask the following questions. Oh, what does the CEO actually care about? Or what does your boss care about? What's important to him or her? What are they likely to say when you present us as a vendor? Based on all the information we went over today, Susie, what are they likely to say? Okay, any other vendors that they're already pulling for? In a lot of cases with vendor selection, the top guy has his buddy's company he's going to hire, but he has to make it look impartial. So he's going to send an errand person out to go collect a bunch of other vendors to make it look as if you went through a really studious, hard decision-making process. It's not always even possible to win. So you have to try to get that out of them. Do they agree that this problem should be solved? And do they agree that this method is the right method to use to solve this problem? And that's getting agreement on the vehicle, the goal, and the vehicle to get to the goal. If no, what is their proposed solution? Or what is their proposed method? What do they prefer? If they don't like organic content to grow sales, what is their preferred solution? Maybe they like paid ads. Totally fine. If they do agree with the vehicle, then what are they hoping to see in a vendor? Now, what type of driver do they want to hire, right? You as the vendor are the driver of the vehicle. If they've already agreed on the vehicle to get to the destination, we're definitely going to hire a paid ads guy. Then they have to figure out, okay, what type of driver of that vehicle, i.e., what vendor are you going to select? What type of vendor? Does it seem like we'd be a contender in their eyes based on everything that I've shared with you today? Great. What are they likely to ask when you present all the vendors? What's going to be the 3 questions? Because I'm sure you're only going to have time for them to ask 2 or 3 questions before the meeting ends and everybody has to go to their next meeting. Okay, what are you going to say then when they ask you those questions, those hard questions? And okay, understand that you're going to say that you think we're the best option, but what if you said it a little bit differently? What if you said it like this? And then you're going to actually give them the more effective sales language that's going to better counter-position you against your known competitors. This is called coaching the sale. All right, now we're in week 5, building credibility and the power frame. Exciting topics. Week 5 is about systematic credibility building that positions you as an expert, not just another commodity vendor. And here's the foundation, guys. Professional excellence in everything. If you want to stand out from your competitors, especially in highly competitive markets, such as cold email lead generation or lead generation in general, which we've coached dozens of business owners to get great close rates in, the first impression isn't the discovery call or the Zoom call. It's your website, your emails, your follow-up sequences, the sales collateral that you send, your reminders before the meeting. As the saying goes, how you do anything is how you do everything. So go through your whole everything, all your online presences, eliminate typos, format everything perfectly, anticipate questions, answer them before they ask. This isn't perfectionism. This is premier positioning. Now, you also need to learn how to counter-position your weaknesses into strengths. So if you're smaller or newer company, you get personal attention from me, not some fresh out of college junior account manager who doesn't know what they're doing. If you're really expensive, you're going to say, we work with fewer clients so you can get better results. You get more personalized, customized attention. We become an extension of your company. If you're in a crowded or competitive market, most agencies focus on tactics. We focus on strategy, right? Find a way to differentiate yourself. When results sound too good to be true, or people level the accusation that your results sound too good to be true, bring up barriers, build barriers, explain that hard work is required. This client had to put in 50 hours weekly and completely restructure their operations. That's why they got such amazing results. We definitely enabled that, but they had to put in a huge amount of work. Barriers increase credibility because they're acknowledging harsh reality instead of promising easy wins. Nobody trusts the easy wins, but they do trust when they have to do some work themselves. Okay, so here's the drilling method here. Audit every touch point of your online presence for professionalism. Practice counter-positioning all your potential weak points. Develop barrier statements for your best case studies. And for bonus points, come up with challenge statements that challenge the prospect on whether or not they could meet the barrier and surmount it. For instance, but we're going to need you to invest at least 50 hours up front to get X result. Do you really have that time? Are you sure you could give us that time? Okay, finally, we're in week 6, reading the room and sales calibration. This is the final skill you need to add to your repertoire to drill to be exceptional at sales. This is about developing real-time calibration skills that separate good people from great ones. The meta skill here is pattern recognition. So you need to learn to become a pattern recognition machine for things like body language, eye contact, nonverbals. These are what I call skepticism signal. When a prospect leans back, they disengage, cross their arms, they seem doubtful. You need to change tactics. You need to address the people in the room who seem disengaged. So this would be a good place to introduce barriers or acknowledge potential negatives to regain credibility. Don't get me wrong, this will be a lot of work. Advanced technique, natural case study weaving throughout your pitch. Don't just wait for a formal case study section and present it. That is a good intro skill, but a more advanced skill in sales is when they mention a problem or a past bad experience, respond with, that reminds me of another client who, and then tell a relevant story that builds their confidence. So it feels conversational, but it systematically gets your case studies into their head. Very advanced technique, but you definitely can learn it and apply it early on in your sales career. And then remember, at the end of the day, the paradox of sales mastery is that the framework is your foundation, not your prison. You have to repeat the foundation again and again and again to get free to really successfully sell. Here's your drilling method. Record all your practice calls with counterparties and analyze the body language. Watch other people's sales calls and analyze the body language. Watch for disengagement, engagement, micro expressions, shifts in positioning, shifts in weight. Practice interrupting your own pitch when you see disengagement. So tell your role play partner, I want you to switch from engaged and excited to disengaged and try to make it as subtle as possible. And I'm going to try to spot it and respond. And then eventually you're going to develop a library of situational responses of things you're going to just automatically ask when someone on the other side of the phone seems to be disengaging. You're going to call them out, you're going to re-engage them. Ultimately, guys, this is going to feel mechanical, but it's only if it feels mechanical at first that it's ever going to be musical at the end of the day. So here's what you should expect with a 6-week roadmap. Weeks 1 through 3, you're going to hit all your important points. You're going to sound mechanical. You're in this phase of conscious incompetence. You know that you don't sound very smooth. Weeks 4 and 5, you're going to start flowing more naturally while maintaining the structure. And week 6, again, if you do the number of reps required, you're going to achieve what looks like natural talent, but is actually systemic mastery. Now, if you don't achieve that by week 6, you guessed it, the answer is just more practice. The goal, guys, isn't to become a sales robot. It's to make the fundamentals so automatic that you focus all your mental energy on reading the prospect. This is like learning to drive. It's just like that. You're going to at first be conscious, and then eventually the mechanics become automatic, and you just think about where you want the car to go. So the reason this approach works, for those of you guys that wants kind of the science before this or behind this, is that it's deliberate practice. And maybe you've heard of Dr. Angela Duckworth. She wrote a book called Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. I actually met her years and years ago when she first came out with the book. And what she found, I'll just save you some time, is that the people who are best at their craft do the most deliberate practice of the hardest part of their craft first and the most consistently. So how to get better at sales? Well, the way to shorten your ramp time is you need to practice the parts of sales that are the most difficult for you the most. And when you do that deliberate, effortful practice, you are going to naturally ascend the skill ramp much more quickly, and it's going to shorten your ramp. So again, if you need a role play partner, you can go ahead and join our school, Community Sales Excellence. There's a link right down below, and you can also get this whole presentation in the first link in the description. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.